Hello, this is Ben with Fullerton College. I'm going to show you how to use the Offset Path tool in Adobe Illustrator. The Offset Path tool creates a secondary object that's a little bit larger than, and if you will, offset from an original object. It can be used on any object in Illustrator that's a complete object, including outlined type. I want to show it to you on outline type because you really get to see what it does better if I do it on text. So let's take a look here. First off, to prove to you this text is outlined, you can see that it is actually created out of vector objects, paths, and anchor points. It does not work on text that is still text. This only works on objects. Speaking of, if you go to your top menu bar, you hit the object, go down to path, and go down to offset path. Offset path will bring up a pop-up menu that gives you options. The top option is offset, which is how much bigger, how far away from the original line do you want your new line? I think 0.125 is just fine, but if I scroll up and down my arrow keys, you can see it can very easily go into ridiculousness or so small that it's barely a thing. I like an eighth or maybe a little bigger. We'll do an eighth for this one. Now you have joins. The joins determine how does the outside line handle going around corners on the original line. Right now it's set to bevel, which kind of chisels off the edges. It cuts the corners off, and it's a cool look. It works for some things, but not for everything. Round is hopefully self-explanatory, but let's take a look anyways. That's right. It rounds the corners. It converts most type into looking like Cooper Black, if you ask me. Sometimes you want this. There's also miter. Miter attempts to follow the actual outline of the text itself. But as you can see with the E and offset, sometimes it has some problems and doesn't quite follow it the way you'd hope. So we're going to use the bevel one for today. And when you create it, it looks like your words have gone away. But if you move your cursor over, you'll notice that the original letters still exist on top. The difficulty is they're all the same color. So let me do a quick drag box to select offset path back there. And we're going to make it red. Now, if we ungroup, Command-Shift-G to ungroup, I can grab, by clicking Shift and clicking on the middle of each one of these, the inside, the original. And we can do something fun. We can make it white so it doesn't exist, and it's just the bevel. That looks pretty cool. Now, if I want to change this again, I've made the color different. I can select one of the objects and go to the select menu and say select same fill color. And then I can change all of the same thing. This also looks pretty fun if you use something like the orange to yellow gradient. You can make kind of the aesthetic qualities of a 1980s book cover. Let me use my gradient box here. If I set that to 90, it'll look better. So there you have it. Ta-da! Offset path. And this works with any object. One or two last little notes on here. When you're doing it with text, you may want to select all of the path itself and arrange it all the way to the back, because you might notice that the outline for A overlaps the P in path. So if I send this all to the back, then you end up with the outline being one layer effectively on one level and the text on top being another. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful.